Hi. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Andrew, aka Baby A, Dan's older brother and best man. How much older, you ask? 2 minutes. That's right, we're twins. I know you're thinking, are we identical? Yes. For 8 months in the womb, I grew larger and stronger than Dan. Whereas the medical staff at St. Agnes Hospital referred to him as Baby B. Right before we made our entrance, Dan rapidly gained weight and started stealing all of my nutrients. This was bad news for me. I was now being squished and starved. Now you're probably wondering how I beat Baby B in the great womb race while being crushed with the immense weight of Dan on top of me. It wasn't because I was the cuter baby, even though I was. It was because the doctor knew that my time was limited if he didn't reach in and get Baby B off of me. I may have been smaller and slightly squished, but this set a precedence going forward that I would always be one step ahead of Baby B. Growing up, we had endearing nicknames for each other. I referred to Dan as Cal, not because he loved a good pasture or sleeping standing up, but because he was a little bit husky. He was kind of cow-shaped, but really cute. He referred to me as Buck-Tooth Beaver because I had perfect teeth. Actually, it was because I once again was a little bit ahead of Dan and lost a few poorly placed front baby teeth way before he lost any of his grass-chomping molars. Next up in the series of how I was just a few steps ahead of Dan was our first day of kindergarten. We boarded the school bus with the confidence of 2 young men in freshly tailored matching polos handmade by Kim Shaw. Unfortunately, I got a little too excited and kept walking towards the back of the bus, and I didn't realize Dan had already sat down. And was saving us a seat towards the front of the bus. Next thing we knew, the bus was moving, and for the first time in our young lives, the Shaw twins were separated. Panic quickly ensued. And even a few tears were shed, from Dan, of course. Whether or not on purpose, I once again paved the way for both of us by walking just a few feet further on the bus and giving Dan his first taste of independence. Next stop on the nostalgia train is 8th grade. There I was in Mr. Jones' history class with a full beard. Alright, not quite a full beard like the one I'm sporting today, but a substantial amount of peach fuzz. I'm still waiting for my favorite twin bro to catch up in the facial hair department. The next part of the story is right around the same time of the sprouting of the facial hair, at least for me. I know you look at Dan and think, wow, I bet that guy was quite the ladies' man back in his bachelor days. But actually, I was the first twin to score a girlfriend. Although my first love didn't end up working out, it wasn't for another few years that Dan got a girlfriend. None of that matters though, because all of this led Dan to finally find the love of his life, Shelby. As the older brother, I had to pave the way for everything, not just the good. I will admit that I was the first to wreck my own car. If you notice, I emphasize the word own. That is because Dan did technically wreck a car before me, it just wasn't his own. The car belonged to a mutual friend, Russell DeLingham. Dan decided to take the car for a joyride at 3 a.m. The bushes Dan demolished jumped out of nowhere, and someone's poorly placed yard got right in his way. As the older brother, I felt obligated to help Dan replant all the bushes, and we spent multiple weekends trying to get the poor man's yard back to normal. Don't worry, Russell was compensated for his car. Well, actually, by compensated, I mean Dan blocked him on AIM. And he never spoke to him again. Fast forward to adulthood. Dan followed me on one final life path, and that was marriage. I got married 3 years ago to my wonderful wife and couldn't be happier. I guess Dan saw that and wanted it too, because quickly after he proposed to Shelby. Welcome to married life, bro. You know what they say. Happy wife, happy life. I'm not gonna lie. I know the Shaw twins were quite a handful growing up. Somewhere down the line, the roles reversed, and Dan, in spite of being baby B, passed me by. For example, Dan started losing his hair before me. He got a dog. R.I.P. Jamie. Bought a house. And for the first time in our lives, he could probably kick my ass. In all seriousness, I can't imagine growing up without my best friend by my side. As twins, we were always there for each other through every milestone of our lives. We were inseparable. When we were young, I remember sneaking into your bed at night, making you put your arm around me. It was my protection from the monsters that lurked in the shadows. As we got older, we would fight and call each other names, as kids do, but we always knew that we had each other's backs. We grew up two of the luckiest kids in the world, not only having each other, but the incredibly close family. Two beautiful sisters, the greatest parents in the world, and grandparents that were so involved. Some may have thought that they were our parents. I know both Pop-Pop Luber and Pop-Pop Shaw are looking down, extremely proud of you on this special day. I may be your big brother, but you are someone I've always looked up to, and one of the greatest guys I know. Shelby, you look beautiful. I've never seen Dan as happy as he is when he's with you. I know that no matter what, you always have his back, and he will always have yours. I couldn't be happier for both of you. Welcome to the family. I hope your marriage is filled with many more firsts for both of you. Speaking of firsts, when we were little, Dan was the first twin to have a song written after him and sang to him regularly. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to introduce Christy Shaw for a solo rendition of Dan the Ocean Man.
Go, baby.
I'll bring all the cousins up because I don't think Christy's going to do it by herself.
Come on, Dan the Ocean Man. Dan the Ocean Man.
Woo! Love you, Dan.
I couldn't find Danny Ocean Man in your Apple Music library. You can
Dan the Ocean Man, he once was a little beach boy who played with baby sand toys. But now he's grown, now he's a man, now he's Dan the Ocean Man. Dan the Ocean Man, we love you.
All right.
Give it up for Dan's brother and all his cousins.